everybody, welcome today to the Hot Planet Repair Team meeting. Every 2 weeks we have this on Thursdays. Please feel free to raise your hand and interrupt along the presentation if you have any questions or comments which are relevant to what's being discussed. Happy Cinco de Mayo to those of you celebrating out there in the Netherlands where I am. It's Freedom Day from World War II. Yesterday was Star Wars lovers. May the 4th be with you. So we got some nice times. I hope you're all enjoying springtime and some good weather, or maybe showers, as some of you have been saying. Lots of rain, who knows? Today, we're going to be discussing some recent developments in past weeks. Last time you heard from us, we were talking about some grants that we're going after. And we just submitted one today, actually, for the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, around climate smart commodities. So we'll speak upon that a little bit. We want to remind you all that there's a lot of work to do for the donor, recruiter, and philanthropic rep positions and the activities that we got going on there. Some of you have already stepped up to the plate, ready to help out. We are still working hard to get some more materials and provide the best onboarding into these positions and ways that we can work together to really optimize such activities. Please reach out to us, as always, figure out what your role is and what you can do. We are going to still talk a little bit about the work that's going on in marketing, storytelling, content, and where people can plug in and add value. A little bit more into the Great Untrashing. What does that mean? Getting more down to the definitions and how we're describing this, because it is a new term, which many people are not used to. And then want to make you all aware of the Eventbrite and the events pages that's going on there, as well as some things like our newsroom and a few educational visuals and such that we want to go into. For grant hunting, I'm going to hand the mic over now to you, Alan. You could talk about the grant hunting we've been doing in recent weeks and what we see in the upcoming hunting season ahead of us.
Sure. The USDA put out a grant for climate smart commodities. Working with Hot Planet Repair Team, working with Gravitas Infinitum, one of the companies I'm affiliated with, and the Carbatura Biocarbon Project. Carbatura is donating a license to Hot Planet Repair Team on all the technology to build basically one of the first systems out there that does atmospheric carbon capture and turns it into climate smart commodities. I think we're going to be a highly differentiated grant application in front of these guys. We got it filed early this morning at about 2 a.m. Hopefully we find out in the next 30 days whether we've got application under review, and then hopefully we get into a shortlisting and get that. The overall 5-year budget is about $80-some million. We're asking the USDA for $42 million. Most of that's going into equipment that we would use to build this facility. And this integrates vertical farming, homogenization or non-carbonized processing of biomass, also carbonized or graphitization of biomass into smart commodities, climate smart commodities. So it's doing a lot of things that they want to do. It's getting rid of greenhouse gases and those types of things. We're planning to build it in Southwest Florida. What's interesting is we got that one filed and we started to do a little bit of searching. There are 3 or 4 other adjacent type grants with other government entities, and one of them is in phytomining. Phytomining is basically using plants to absorb things and then process them into solid materials. And that's basically what the USDA grant's doing also. So I think we have an appropriate granting approach and a platform to build off of. We'll be applying for several more. And we're always looking for these kinds of grants, and any philanthropic foundations, other nonprofits that might want to join us are welcome to, and we would invite them to partner with us.
And who are some other partners that we're already working with on our submission?
We have Envirodynamics, of course, Gravitas Infinitum is supporting it. We've got United Cities, smart cities type things that are supporting it. 5 or 6 different partners, Microwave Systems out of Germany, a few others. So what we ultimately want to do, the USDA wants to do, is they want us to train people in this technology. And Hot Planet Repair Team actually is packaging up sort of a franchise approach that can serve underserved and minority and small farmers, because this doesn't take a lot of land. You don't have to be a billionaire to own 2,000 acres to make a living. We're going to go on to 1 acre, and it represents 60 acres of outdoor growing capacity. It's very efficient.
What I really like about this whole grant and what we'd be building there is it's helping solve many problems, not only for the global climate, but the land of North America. As a historian, I love studying the rise and fall of civilizations. Those that focus on their soil and soil health tend to do and will do much better. So the U.S. has come to do a great job of understanding that in the Department of Agriculture. And there's many challenges around having farmers make certain transitions for regenerative agriculture. And it's also tough to have certain solutions which aren't as popularly used, like biochar, which is being produced by these facilities, which are actually indigenous sorts of solutions that are being brought up at scale. You need to teach these farmers and provide different incentives and programs in order to help develop that market and the use for driving these regenerative agriculture transitions. This is something that's very close to my heart, and I want to see happen all around the world. So it's something that can be replicated, scaled up, and using traditional methods which aren't risky. I love learning more about rocks like in carbon that can help make the land and soil much healthier, like basalt, biochar. So I just wanted to point that out. And if anyone else has any comments, please jump in about regenerative agriculture transition.
Jake, we're also going to put this particular grant filing on the website that anybody wants to see. It should be up there by Monday.
Fantastic. Thanks for pointing that out. We're very transparent in the process to make sure that everyone can see what's going on with these submissions. All right, on to donor, recruiter, and philanthropic representatives. Like I was saying before and in previous weeks, if you've been watching, paying attention, we have to really scale up our fundraising efforts. We have a lot to do in donor recruiting and philanthropic representation, so reach out to us, figure out what your role is. There's at least 4 or 5 that have reached out with us and gotten onboarded, figured out what their role is, how can they tap into their networks and use their skills in ways that will help out with our fundraising activities. So please reach out to us if you are interested. This is an opportunity to also develop new skills or strengthen existing ones, learn alongside us and how we are going to be building relationships with lots of different stakeholders and hopefully turning that into ways which can get some capital for scaling up the Hot Planet Repair team and what we're building. Marketing, content, storytelling. Allison, would you mind talking about this, please?
Sure. As always, check out our newsroom to see our latest articles. Please do share them on social media. We need help spreading the word. Jake and I are a small but mighty team. We're working to make sure that we do have content, but we can always use help because it's just the two of us. We did have a great meeting this week, so we're going to start on a new strategy to maybe explain a little bit better the goals of Hot Planet Repair Team and what we're trying to do. So look forward to that. If you have any ideas, we welcome your ideas about content we can put on. If you want to share some content, please provide it to us. Or if you'd like to write something, we always welcome that because we are trying to keep the content fresh and going constantly. That's kind of it in a highlight. So we will be doing some more articles. They'll be coming out in the next few weeks. I think based on our meeting with Melissa this week, she gave us some great ideas about some of the stories that we can tell.
I just wanted to say before, I'm running down the corporate donor path, which I don't think intersects with grants per se, but it's a parallel supplementary channel for funding for HPRT.
Thank you, John. That's a good point that you made there. So John's skills and networks are more in the financial and corporate investor world. He's working with us to help turn some of those relationships and opportunities into things that will help out the Hot Planet Repair team. So John, thank you for chiming in there. And
I'd say it's synergistic. I'd say, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to punctuate with what anyone is saying. I just want to say this. I believe that it's synergistic in the sense that it'll encourage donors, grant providers on either side of the track, as it were, to participate. Nothing like proof of concept, right? For a worthy cause.
Absolutely.
John, one of the things we can do as we continue to do grant writing, a lot of these can be adapted to corporate interests, their philanthropic granting or their donation works, and they could come into some of these grants as matching dollars also.
Oh, that's excellent. That's people have said to me in the past, what do you do for a living? And I said, oh, I beg for money. But it's, usually for funds for companies and not for, big causes such as this. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And it's a noble cause. We thank you, John. Everyone, please find your own noble cause to help out Planet Repair, whether it's in philanthropic representation, donor recruitment, and marketing, content, and storytelling. Sharing is caring. We need to do more sharing. We need to get some of these influencers on board and work on scaling up the ways in which we're using our different channels and social media. So if anyone has those skills, please just reach out to us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. The Great Untrashing. Allison, let's delve a little bit into what we want to talk about here.
Sure. Out of our meeting that we had this week, we heard that maybe the message about the Great Untrashing hasn't been received. So, what we just want to do is kind of define what that means to us. What that means is anyone that is working to address climate change, working to heal the planet and make it a healthier planet is part of the Great Untrashing. Everyone is welcome. We want a wide network. We want lots of solutions to help heal the planet. And that's the whole idea. So I think in a nutshell, that's kind of what we wanted to get across is that it's not just one thing, it's every contribution. And whether that be you're helping with marketing for a company that does sustainability, or you're helping raise funds for companies that work in sustainability and trying to heal the planet. And that can be anything. It can be, as you know, Jake loves regenerative farming. It can be planting trees. It can be new technology. There's a wide variety of ways to help heal the planet and a wide variety of roles in helping to heal the planet. They're all valuable and they're all important and they all work towards the Great Untrashing.
All efforts in untrashing are appreciated. And Alan, I want to ask you a question about the definitions of the term planet repair and untrashing and how are they related?
You know, when you go into somebody that has an abandoned house, you clean out the trash first and then you go and you demo it and you remodel it. That's sort of the exact same thing we've got to do here. So let's pick up our garbage. The untrashing thing I came up with when I kept thinking about when I was a teenager and we had parties at the house and the parents were gone for the weekend and we had a big party. And all of a sudden, mom and dad are coming home, and you've got to get everybody to pick up all the beer cans and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like Barney, clean up, everybody clean up. That's the songs you had to listen to in the 90s. But, you know, for me, actually, I saw in COVID, I was just graduated from my master's and was struggling to get some work. I was working as a Uber Eats driver and seeing all the time the amount of trash cans that were filling up across the public streets in the Netherlands. And it was getting worse and worse because people weren't eating indoors at restaurants anymore. The trash cans were getting fuller than ever. I've developed a pretty bad pet peeve with trash. I think it takes place, yes, in picking up trash and putting it in the trash bin, but then making sure that that trash is going through circular systems. But it's also, like Allison said, it's ways in using your skills in marketing, sales, finance, investment markets, anything you do, you can find ways to relate it towards planet repair.
Yeah, and I look at the last 200 years as this hyper accelerated party we've had with petroleum and coal and mining and industry and really cool technologies and stuff. We couldn't have gotten here without those things. But now we're graduating and we're getting smart enough to say, well, we don't need to put things that trash the planet all over the planet in the atmosphere and stuff. We've got enough of it exposed from a carbon perspective that we can start reusing it. It's already been processed once. Why don't we just reuse it? That concentration of energy and actually exposure of all that carbon and energy, we now can take advantage of, and I basically call it the new carbonomy. It's an era of abundance for people that can change their paradigm in their brain. That's what Hot Plant Repair Team is all about, is teaching people how to use the era of abundance.
Absolutely. I've been doing a lot of work in carbon removal advocacy policy and some of my other work that I'm up to. You get to learn about how we can actually, instead of using single-use plastics made from oil, we can start using things like algae and seaweed in products and how we wrap them. And once you use something like that, you just put it in your garden and it decomposes. So there's different ways we can use and retool our supply chains, our materials, our products and services, which are using regenerative materials, which aren't trashing the planet, but are actually playing a role in untrashing different parts of the biosphere, whether it's the atmosphere, the lithosphere, forgetting the third one, but all the spheres, the three spheres of the nature. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that it comes in many different ways, and planet repair applies to all sorts of responsible and efficient way of sustainable solutions. Alan, how would you define planet repair, the term?
We're the planet repair team, and as a planet repair team, we basically are janitors without borders. You can't let the systems get in the way of what we're doing. Nation states and religious states and whatever kinds of states are out there. This is a small little blue marble, and it's the first planet we're going to fix. There's probably many more that could use our help.
Absolutely. There's no planet B. Thanks for delving into us for a bit on what is the Great Untrashing, what is planet repair. We hope this becomes more clear. We'll be putting up on the website too and some more of our content to make it more clear to the whole crowd. Now we just want to mention again, we are working to keep our pages up to date for Eventbrite, and on our website, you can also find that there. On weeks where we don't have this meeting, we have the social meeting, so show up there, get to know each other, have casual conversations, or maybe you want to delve into a difficult topic about how to scale up planet repair and untrash the planet. There's different ways in which we can use these meetings to get to know each other better, have fun, and identify opportunities. Last week, we had a good time just getting to know a new member who we didn't really know that well before. So we went around the room and introduced ourselves. We wish it was in a physical space, but no, it was a virtual room. It was a great conversation getting to know each other. Thanks to our teammate, Rich Peterson. Shout out to him for doing a lot of great work on our website, making it look a lot fresher and clearer for these user journeys. What I wanted to just quickly delve into are some things that I find pretty inspiring. I love systems change, and that's really what we're going after here. We're changing systems to make sure that we can scale up planet repair, untrash the planet. There's 6 conditions of systems change. Some are more explicit and implicit in how they occur. When we are scaling up planet repair and untrashing, we want to change these systems and use things like power dynamics, really understand them well, how relationships is critical to all of this work here, and the connections we have amongst each other, and the connections that we can bridge and relationships that we can create across difficult, sometimes conflicting areas. So there's different roles that you can play. We have a very systems oriented approach at Hot Planet Repair Team, where we want to be systems entrepreneurs, and how we're going to change our shared home by untrashing it and scaling up planet repair solutions. And there's different roles to play. There's this great presentation I was watching that points out 3 different roles. One's the orchestrator, which facilitates alignment towards common goals and coordinates action across groups, organizations, and sectors. Now there's an innovator, creates new actionable solutions to address dysfunctions in the system. And 3 is the agitator, creates visibility into system dysfunction and or raises grievances of individuals or groups to the forefront of public awareness. I was thinking that I felt like I liked the innovator one, but you can play several. I think the innovator and the orchestrator are some of the more fun ones that I enjoy personally. So wanted to show that quickly. Alan, would you mind delving into this graphic about Overshoot Day?
Yeah, this talks about how resources are used from the planet. To give you an idea, March 13th, Canada, United Arab Emirates, and the United States of America used all the resources that they should for the whole year by March 13th. That's not real good, if you know what I mean. We really got to get into a circular regenerative mode where we quit digging out and quit using all the free resources from the earth, because somewhere down in the future, we're just going to run out, or it becomes so cost prohibitive, it's ridiculous. If you look at Jamaica, my God, they don't use all the resources until late December. So that tells me they've got a lot of renewable energy. They're growing their own food, all those kinds of things.
It's very interesting. So they say Earth Overshoot Day marks the date when humanity's demand for ecological resources and services in a given year exceeds what Earth can regenerate in that year. Where I live in the Netherlands, it was just in April 12th, I believe. That's pretty shameful. Things need to change, and we all need to figure out ways that we can do so in our communities, our states, our countries, our regions, and globally all at the same time. We have a lot of learning to do, collaboration. We're just opening up now to some questions, answers, and reflections from anyone. If anyone wants to discuss anything that was brought up today, now's the time.
I'd like to say thank you myself. I'm just chiming in from the United Nations. I've been listening in while we're having a whole discussion and conference on regenerating the planet through hemp and cannabis. A lot of the things are mirrored from what are going on here with what is going on in this call right now. So I just wanted to chime in and say hello to everybody. That it's an honor to be at the United Nations headquarters in New York, talking about Hot Planet Repair Team and talking about how we're going to untrash the planet and introduce regenerative infrastructure to both developing and developed countries. Just wanted to say hello to everybody, and I'm spreading the word.
Tyler. Thanks, Tyler. This is John again, and I am thinking, we're going to be asking people for money, and we're talking about the great cause. But to be fair, I haven't really looked at a strategic plan of planned projects, workflows. Besides trying to spread the word, are we going to be acting like a united way where we support other organizations? Are we going to be creating programs, projects that need to be undertaken? So I don't know if that's really backtracking on our flow of conversations or something that was just evolving.
Alan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. As a hot planet repair team, we need to structure ourselves to do actionable projects like we're doing with the grant writing. We also need to be able to support community outreach projects, and we also need to develop timelines and projects that are focused towards running the actual business. Even though we're a charitable entity, we're still a business. We have a lot of internal projects, and that's what we've been working on lately. And then we have to work on funding, because without money, you have no mission. And that's really the big focus we're on right now is, figuring out how to finance this thing. We've taken on a ginormous problem. Somebody posted something about starfish the other day. It really resonates. This kid was putting starfish back in the ocean, throwing them into the ocean. A guy asked him why. He says, well, every little bit counts. And I thought about that. I said, it really does count to the starfish. I think every person, no matter what, can be productive and can enhance what we're trying to accomplish here. It also reminds me of a saying we used to have when we used to race dirt bikes: lead, follow, or get the F out of the way. A little bit of an attitude, but at the same time, if you don't have that attitude, you're not going to drive it forward.
I do have a question. In addition to money, funds, fungible currency to finance what HPRT wants to do, needs to do, should there also be a parallel track of getting goods and services in kind?
Oh, absolutely.
Utilized, yeah. Right. So I don't know about that process.
What's interesting with a nonprofit like ours is everybody's time here today we're accounting for, and it actually adds up for the IRS purposes at $28 an hour is what it gets banked at as volunteer hours that we've put in, and then we can use that towards projects. We will welcome anybody to come in with in-kind partnering, materials, thinking, programs, whatever. They just have to be in line with what we're talking about and not take us off our mission. And I mean, we're still defining mission. And in some areas, it's getting very clearly defined. In other areas, it's still extremely scattered and vague. As we continue down the path, it'll get turned into a bunch of laser beams pretty soon.
Yeah, and if there is some clarity, there's going to constantly need to be new clarity from people who started way back when we were convened for the first time back in August and such, and throughout the years, because we are going to be taking on so many grand problems. There are going to be a lot of evolving changes that we need to understand across Hot Planet Repair teams. So in the short term, yes, we're building up our content, trying to explain what we're doing, our communications, our different systems to keep track of our membership and support them. We're really strategizing with how we're going to build a better community, different ways to digitally connect with each other. In the long term, it's really still about going back to what our mission is about. So go read our mission online, absorb that. Then after that, it goes into a little bit more about what you find in the business model. And that business model is building things like the ways which we are going to standardize and provide support to scale up Planet Repair solutions. So that's the playbooks, that's the standardization, the ways that you can provide monitoring, reporting, verification, project support, data sharing, open source ways in order to scale up solutions and enable them to be replicable. There's a lot more that we've talked about this before in previous meetings and ways that we're going to be explaining this out to our content, because that's still not very clear to understand. And so aside from the playbooks, you also have the connectory. How are we keeping track of the people, places, and things regarding Planet Repair solutions? And then third, the leagues, the ways in which we are going to be building out different franchises and ways to competitively and efficiently scale up Planet Repair and keep tracking and leaderboards around this stuff to really drive the incentives and the standardizations that we were talking about. And still, ever since we began at the Planet Repair team, it's also been about the fundraising, the financing, the blended finance. So that's still in the books, but what has to come in place are the initial finances, fundraising, things that can help us build up our capacities and bandwidth. So I hope that provides a little bit more clarity. If you want to look a little bit deeper into that, some of our first YouTube recordings will be pretty helpful as well, as that goes a little bit more into the design plan long-term for the organization. Any other comments from the team or questions?
I just wanted to say something about everything you guys said today. Wonderful group of people. Mother's Day weekend is coming up. So I had a little write-up here. I just had to say that people join HPRT to create beautiful comfort in our earth here around us, protect and nurture, sustain our Mother Earth. Just remember that our time, our energy, everything that we're investing daily is like home care that we need for a lasting work of art in our world today. We want to be happy, secure, and have a beautiful land for many years to come for all those that we love. So I think everybody that's on this mission is just so special. And thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fancy Nancy. Any other comments or questions from anyone? Otherwise, I just want to say, let's end today's meeting on a note, ideal of freedom. Freedom is really important in life. It's what are you going to do with your freedom is the question. I think that's what we need to focus on. It's very clear in certain times in history, like we're dealing with this year, and then also the historical days that we've celebrated from the past. Finding out what your role is within the world, that's what your freedom is about. So thanks for all of you for being here today. Let's have fun building up this community. Have a great weekend. Enjoy springtime.